Individualized support in education is a tailored teaching approach that recognizes each student's unique learning styles, strengths, and challenges. This method aims to provide personalized educational experiences that cater to individual needs, thereby enhancing learning outcomes and ensuring that every student has the opportunity to succeed. By acknowledging the diversity in learning, preferences, and abilities, educators can design and implement strategies that accommodate various styles, such as visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning, and addressing specific challenges that may hinder a student's progress.
Inclusive mindset is to create environments where all individuals feel welcome, respected, and valued. By embracing diversity and promoting inclusion, organizations and communities can harness the full potential of their members, leading to increased creativity, innovation, and collaboration. Additionally, fostering an inclusive mindset promotes social justice and equity by reducing discrimination and marginalization. The goal is to create a more just, equitable, and harmonious society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Positive reinforcement is a method used to encourage desired behavior by providing a reward of positive consequence when the behavior occurs. It strengthens the likelihood of that behavior being repeated in the future. It's widely used in various settings, including parenting, education, and workplace environments, to promote productivity learning and good conduct. An example of positive reinforcement is praising a student for completing their homework on time. This acknowledgement of their effort and responsibility increases the likelihood that they will continue to complete their homework promptly in the future.
Collaborative learning. In the modern educational landscape, the concept of collaborative learning has emerged as a pivotal element in creating inclusive classrooms. This approach, which emphasizes group work and collective problem solving, has been shown to benefit students of all abilities and backgrounds, and encourage students to work together, fostering teamwork, communication, and problem-solving skills. Collaborative learning also embraces diversity, allowing students to engage with different perspectives and backgrounds, fostering a sense of belonging and inclusivity.
Early intervention in the psychological basis of special and inclusive education focuses on providing timely and targeted support to address the psychological needs of children with developmental delays, disabilities, or other special needs. This approach recognizes the importance of understanding the psychological factors that influence a child's development and learning, and aims to promote positive outcomes through early intervention strategies.
Legal mandates regarding special and inclusive education vary by country and jurisdiction. However, they generally aim to ensure that students with disabilities or special needs have access to appropriate education and support services in mainstream schools whenever possible. These mandates often include laws such as the Individual with Disabilities Education Act or IDEA in the United States or the Education Act in the United Kingdom, which outlines procedures and funding mechanisms for special education services, reasonable accommodation, accessibility, teacher training, and parental involvement.
Inclusive practices in education can be defined as attitudes and methods that ensure all learners can access learning. Everyone works to make sure that all learners feel welcome and valued, and that they get the right support to help them develop their individual talents and achieve their goals. Inclusive practices, all children are in the same classrooms, in the same school. It means real learning opportunities for groups who have traditionally been excluded. Not only children with disabilities but speakers of minority languages too.
Resource allocation, the strategic distribution of resources such as cash, people, equipment, and time. across different activities, projects, or departments within the organization is known as resource allocation. In order to maximize efficiency and effectiveness, judgments must be made on the work, how of resource allocation based on priorities, goals, and needs. Locating resources effectively guarantees that they are used effectively to satisfy organizational goals and produce the intended results.
Formally, professional development is a reference to a wide variety of specialized training, formal education, or advanced professional learning intended to help administrators, teachers, and other educators improve their professional knowledge, competence, skill, and effectiveness. Teacher professional development involves a continuous process of reflection, learning, and action to further a teacher's knowledge and skills, leading to enhanced teaching practices that positively impact on students' learning. It provides teachers with adequate time to learn, practice, implement, and reflect upon new strategies that facilitate changes in their practice. The purpose of professional development is to give professionals the opportunity to learn and apply new knowledge and skills that can help them in their job and further their career.
Parental involvement. The term parental involvement means the participation of parents in regular way and the meaningful communication involvement in student academic learning and other school activities, including ensuring: Number 1. That parents play an integral role in assisting their child's learning. Number 2. That parents are encouraged to be actively involved in their child's education at school. Number 3. That parents are full partners in their child's education and are included as appropriate in decision-making and advisory committees to assist in the child education of their child. And last, number 4, the carrying out of other activities such as those described in the section 6318 of this title.
Special and inclusive education are based on the premise that all people, regardless of ability or difference, have the right to receive quality education that is adapted to their specific needs. The foundation is based on fostering equity, diversity, and inclusion in educational environments. This includes offering accommodations, adaptations, and support service to students with disabilities or special needs so that they can fully engage and succeed alongside their peers. It entails using a range of teaching methodologies, cultivating a good and inclusive schools atmosphere, and pushing for policies that support equitable opportunity for all students. The legal basis of special and inclusive education. As of my last knowledge update in January 2022, the legal basis for special and inclusive education in the Philippines includes several key laws and policies aimed at ensuring equal educational opportunities for all learners, including those with disabilities. Please note that there may have been changes or additional developments since my last update. Here are the significant legal basis of that time.
The combination of a strong psychological refers to the integration of various psychological factors that work together to influence an individual's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. These factors can include cognitive process, emotional states, personality traits, and social influences. When these psychological elements come together, it can have a powerful impact on an individual's overall well-being and behavior. For example, a person with a strong psychological foundation may have a resilient mindset, allowing them to bounce back from adversity and maintain positive outlook. They may also have a high level of self-awareness, enabling them to understand their own emotions and motivations. The psychological basis of special and inclusive education refers to the understanding and application of psychological principles in the field of education to support students with diverse learning needs. It recognizes that every student is unique and may require different strategies and support to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. Special education focuses on providing tailored instructions and support to students with disabilities or learning difficulties. It draws on psychological assessment and interventions to identify individual strengths and challenges, develop individualized education plans, and implement evidence-based teaching strategies. The psychological basis helps educators understand how students learn.
Policy framework for special and inclusive education ensures that it has access to quality education. Most of these are legal debates, promoting inclusive practices with evidence student support, ongoing professional development, collaboration, communication, instructional responsiveness, and expanded authentic assessment approaches, resource allocation, professional development, parental involvement, peer assessment methods. The main goal of this is to create an environment where it gives a huge amount of support for the holistic development of every student. The philosophical foundation of special and inclusive education is based on the principles of equality, diversity, and recognizing the inherent value and potential in every individual. This approach challenges traditional education methods that exclude certain groups, advocating instead for an inclusive learning environment that accommodates diverse abilities, backgrounds, and learning styles. It emphasizes equal access to quality education that fits the individual needs and promotes a society that values and respects the rights and dignity of all individuals regardless of their differences.
Principles of human rights and social justice underpin the philosophy of inclusive education. Advocates argue that everyone, individuals, regardless of their abilities or disabilities, has a right to education. The promotion and protection of human rights is about empowering people to stand up for themselves and for each other, for equality, and for inclusive societies. This is how the power of human rights can foster and accelerate a transformative development agenda. Human rights and social justice in inclusive education promotes values, beliefs, and attitudes that encourage all individuals to uphold their own rights and those of others, even with the disabilities. It develops an understanding of everyone's common responsibility to make human rights a reality in each community.
Equality and equity implies treating everyone the same, provide equal opportunities for all students, regardless of their background or abilities. While equality recognizes that individuals have different needs and allocate resources accordingly to ensure fairness, it is essential to understand the distinction between these concepts to promote justice and inclusivity in all aspects of life. By implication, this challenges the one-size-fits-all approval to education means that embracing both equality and equity in decision-making processes and policies is crucial for creating a more just and harmonious society. And by implementing policies and practices that address the diverse needs of students, school can create a more inclusive and supportive learning environment for everyone.
Multiculturalism and diversity foster an atmosphere in which all students, regardless of background, feel appreciated and respected, which is essential for inclusive education. They foster understanding, empathy, and tolerance, all of which are necessary for thriving in a multicultural society. Students who are exposed to a variety of viewpoints will be better equipped to solve problems and communicate effectively in a connected global world. Diversity in the classroom encourages social justice, equity, and academic success for all children. Schools can provide children with the opportunity to learn about the diverse viewpoints, cultures, and experiences of individuals by embracing diversity. This enhances communication, empathy, and problem-solving abilities. Diversity and multiculturalism have implications for inclusive education that enhances the learning environment, promotes critical thinking, builds cultural competency, reduces stereotyping, and advances social and emotional development is impacted by diversity and multiculturalism.
Person in order to emphasize a holistic approach to care that takes into account the whole person, not a narrow focus on their condition or symptoms, but also their preferences, well-being, and wider social and cultural background. Person-centered are made simple.
Social constructivism is a theory that posits that individuals create and shape their own understanding of the world through social interactions and experiences. This theory suggests that knowledge is not objective or absolute, but rather subjective and constructed through shared beliefs, values, and norms with society. According to social constructivism, reality is not something that exists independently, but rather is created through our interactions with others. This means that our understanding of the world is constantly evolving and changing as we engage with different perspectives and interpretations. One key aspect of social constructivism is the idea of knowledge is socially constructed through language, communication, and cultural practices. This theory emphasizes that importance of dialogue, collaboration, and cooperation in shaping our understanding of the world. In conclusion, social constructivism highlights the dynamic nature of knowledge creation and emphasizes the role of social interactions in shaping our perception of reality.
In this topic, ethics of care emphasizes the importance of emotions such as sympathy, empathy, and compassion that enable individuals to be more attentive and responsive to the needs of others and to imagine themselves in the perspectives of others. Such emotions can aid instead of hinder ethical reasoning. In special and inclusive programming requires the display of unconditional love. Teachers must create an environment where all students feel welcomed and accepted by the teachers and by their peers. Interaction with the students must communicate respect for them as individuals made in the image of God.
The landscape of special and inclusive education continues to evolve, influenced by ongoing research, advocacy efforts, and changes in educational policy and practice. While progress has been made, challenges remain in ensuring equitable access to education for all individuals, regardless of ability, and in fostering truly inclusive learning environments that celebrate diversity and support the needs of every student.
Ancient and medieval periods encompass a significant portion of human history characterized by profound developments in civilization, technology, philosophy, and governance. Ancient period circa 3000 BCE to 500 CE. This period witnessed the emergence of the world's earliest civilization, including Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. This civilization laid the groundwork for complex societies with advancements such as writing, agriculture, and organized religion. Medieval period circa 500 CE to 1500 CE. Following the decline of the Western Roman Empire, Europe entered a period of decentralization and upheaval known as the Middle Ages. This era saw the rise of feudalism, the spread of Christianity, the Islamic Golden Age, and the Byzantine Empire in the East.
The Renaissance and the Enlightenment were both significant periods of intellectual and cultural development in Europe, but they occurred at different times and had distinct characteristics. The Renaissance, spanning roughly from the 14th to 17th century, was a rebirth of interest in classical learning, art, and literature. It emphasized humanism, individualism, and the exploration of human potential. Key figures of the Renaissance include artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, as well as thinkers like Erasmus and Machiavelli. The Enlightenment, which occurred primarily in the 18th century, was an intellectual movement that emphasized reason, science, and individual rights. It challenged traditional authority and promoted ideals such as liberty, equality, and tolerance.
The 19th century saw the emergence of institutions for individuals with disabilities. While some were well-intentioned attempts to provide care and education, others became overcrowded and lacked proper resources. Pioneering educators like Samuel Gridley, Huey, and Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard made significant contribution to the education of individuals with specific disabilities.
The early 20th century saw significant developments in special education. Prior to this time, children with disabilities were often marginalized or excluded from mainstream education. However, as awareness grew, educators began to implement special programs to meet the unique needs of these students or children. This era marked the emergence of schools and programs specifically designed for individuals with disabilities, laying the foundation for modern special education practices.
Mid-20th century. In the mid-20th century, especially post-World War II, there was growing recognition of the need for special and inclusive education. This period saw the emergence of various initiatives and movements aimed at promoting inclusive education, such as development of special education programs and the push for legislation to protect the rights of individuals with disabilities.
During the late 20th century, children with disabilities frequently face discrimination in public education, either through a lack of appropriate accommodation or complete exclusion from local schools. At the start of 1970s, only about 20% of children with disabilities attended a public school. Often, instead of attending local schools, children who were blind, deaf, had physical disabilities like cerebral palsy, or had intellectual disabilities like Down syndrome were sent to institutions with little to no education instruction. Parents and disabilities activities at the time called for an end to forcing children with disabilities into separate learning facilities.
21st century, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities highlights the importance of ensuring equal opportunities for individuals with disabilities, including in education. With advancement in technology such as assistive devices and specialized software, educators can cater to diverse learning needs more effectively. Additionally, a deeper understanding of different learning styles and accommodations has led to the adoption of inclusive practices, ensuring that all students, regardless of ability, have access to quality education.
A challenge is something that teaches you how to grow as a person. They encourage personal development, are a way to work on self-improvement, and also provide opportunities for growth and development, increase confidence and resilience and creativity rather than avoiding challenges. We should embrace them and use them as opportunities to improve ourselves. Teaching is an important life lesson, and fostering resilience through personal challenges also enables us to acquire essential skills. As we strive to overcome difficulties and find solutions to our problems, we develop problem-solving skills, decision-making abilities, and resourcefulness, ensuring that inclusive practices are effective and meet the needs of all students.
In conclusion, the implementation of an inclusive education program represents a pivotal step towards fostering a learning environment that reflects the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The proposed program is designed to address the unique needs of the student with disability with our educational institution, aiming to create supportive and enriching atmosphere where all students can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. By embracing inclusive education, we acknowledge that diversity is an asset that enriches the educational experience for every student. Through a combination of target activities, professional development, and ongoing evaluation, we aspire to create an inclusive culture that goes beyond compliance, promoting a genuine sense of belonging for every member of our school community.
Assessment and evaluation in special education involve a process of collecting and analyzing information about the student to determine whether they have disability, their strengths and weaknesses, and the extent of special education and related services they need. This information may come from various sources such as health and medical histories, psychological and developmental tests, academic and performance tests, speech and language evaluation, social and emotional tests, and interviews, and observations and feedback from the members of the assessment team, including parents. Assessment and evaluation. Establishing fair and inclusive assessment methods that consider diverse abilities and provide accurate representation of each student's progress.
Public Act 1052 or Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. The Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, also known as the 2012 Law, extends the basic education cycle in the Philippines from 10 to 12 years. It emphasizes inclusive education, recognizing and addressing the diverse learning needs of all students, including those with special needs. This provision promotes a more inclusive and equitable learning environment where every student is given the opportunity to reach their full potential. Overall, the K-12 law seeks to improve the quality of education in the Philippines by extending the basic education cycle, promoting inclusive education, and addressing the diverse learning needs of students.
Department of Education, Order Number 20, Section 2012, Policy Guidelines on Inclusive. This DepEd order provides guidelines for implementing inclusive education policies in all public and private schools. The importance of accommodating the diverse needs of learners, including those with disabilities, and provide rules to create a safe environment for children. It protects both learners and the school personnel by clearly defining arrangement and measures for child protection.
Public Act Number 10524, which aims to provide equal employment opportunities for persons with disabilities in both government agencies and private corporations, with specific duties and responsibilities assigned to various government agencies and incentives provided for private corporations that employ PWDs. The Public Act 10524 was assigned by President Benigno Aquino III on April 13, 2013. The Public Act 10524, which was approved into law, requires that at least 1% of all regular and non-regular positions in all government agencies, offices, or corporations shall be reserved for persons with disabilities, PWDs. It also encourage private corporations with more than 100 employees to reserve at least 1% of all positions for PWD.
Multiculturalism and diversity foster an atmosphere in which all students, regardless of background, feel appreciated and respected, which is essential for inclusive education. They foster understanding, empathy, and tolerance, all of which are necessary for thriving in a multicultural society. Students who are exposed to a variety of viewpoints will be better equipped to solve problems and communicate effectively in a connected global world. Diversity in the classroom encourages social justice, equity, and academic success for all children. Schools can provide children with the opportunity to learn about the diverse viewpoints, cultures, and experiences of individuals by embracing diversity. This enhances communication, empathy, and problem-solving abilities. Diversity and multiculturalism have implications for inclusive education that enhances the learning environment, promotes critical thinking, builds cultural competency, reduces stereotyping, and advances social and emotional development is impacted by diversity and multiculturalism.
Republic Act of 9442, an act providing for the rehabilitation and self-reliance of disabled persons and their integration of the mainstream of society and other purposes, granting additional privilege and incentives and prohibitions on verbal, non-verbal, ridicule, and vilification against persons with disability, which required the Department of Health to institute a National Health Program or PWDs, establish medical rehabilitation centers in provincial hospitals, and adopt an integrated and comprehensive approach to the health development of PWDs, which shall make essential services available to them at affordable cost.
Order Number 73 Series of 2012 implementing guidelines on the grant of 5% discount privilege on purchases of goods and services by the persons with disabilities. This law is a significant directive in the Philippines aimed at promoting inclusivity and accessibility for persons with disabilities. It mandates a 5% discount on essential goods and services, alleviating finances burdens. This order symbolizes the government commitment to upholding citizens' rights and dignity, promoting compassion, empathy, and commitment, and social justice. It serves as a model for future initiatives promoting equality and empowerment.
In addition, in this order, persons with disabilities or PWDs have persistently expressed their need for inclusion and to be given equal footing in society. PWDs a special discount of 5% off the regular retail price of the basic necessities and prime commodities as defined in the Price Act, but without exemption from the value-added tax or VAT. Although the 5% special discount has been in place since 2017, not many may be aware of this additional incentive for PWDs.